Hello folks, welcome back to another review and thoughts on, so I'm doing the Spider-Man movies, Batman, some Marvel, DC stuff soon, starting with this movie along with, I think I'll do Batman 89 next, or Spider-Man 2. But yeah, I was in the middle of watching the first one, and then a storm hit, so then it shut my PS3 off, and then I didn't feel like turning it back on to watch it again. But that is okay, because I have Google at my disposal. And mainly because I've seen this movie a lot of times, so I remember most of it. Yes, I am familiar with Spider-Man movies, not the comics really. I didn't really grow up with the comics, but the Sam Raimi films I grew up with a lot. The games as well. Spider-Man 2, the video game or movie game, whatever it's called. And then Spider-Man 3 video game, which I remember a great deal because I got that on Christmas, and I was excited to play it. But yeah, it didn't. Retrospect, it's not really that great of a game. Bit annoying, bit repetitive with the move sets. Of course, I find out later on, I understand how there's like, you can upgrade your combat move set. Like, during those years of me playing it, I didn't know. Eventually, I beat that game, unlike Shrek 2. Even the final level was tough, though, on Spider-Man 3. I never beat Spider-Man 1 or 2. But, yeah, the Spider-Man 2002 film, the first film in the Sam Raimi trilogy, directed by Sam Raimi. I believe he has a small little camp, well, I guess, you don't really, I could be wrong, but I swear, during the wrestling scene when what's his name? Bruce Campbell was introducing Peter as the Amazing Spider-Man. I could have swore the guy that pushes, because he tells me, you got my name wrong, and then I swear the guy that says, get out there, you moron, and pushes him out there. I think that's Sam Raimi, but you don't see him because he turns really fast around. So I was like, I tried to listen to his voice. I think that is him. Could be wrong. Might be a trivia thing, or might be just imagining that. I swear on the commentary I think that's him. But, yeah, the movie stars, Tobey Maguire as Peter Parker, Willem Dafoe as Norman Osborn, Kirsten Dunst as Mary Jane, James Franco as, Harry Osborn. And, yeah, overall, I still like the film. I still laughed at some of the stuff that's in it, the humor, some of the scenes like when Peter's awkward around Mary Jane when they're outside at a school field trip or whatever, and he thinks she's waving at him, but she's actually waving at her friends that are walking towards from behind him. I thought that was funny. I've been there before where somebody waved at you, think they're waving at you, but really they're no, it's the person behind you or next to you. That's embarrassing. Also, I laughed at the part where the bully Flash or whatever and his crew, when Peter wants to take a picture of for a school paper, and like they keep bumping him on purpose, making him mess up, and then it was funny because then Harry tries to stand up for him, and like Flash is like or he's like, leave him alone, and then they all talk amongst each other like, or what? And then Flash is like, or his father will fire your father. I don't know, like the way he mocked him, I thought was fun, because they know that he's rich and all, and his dad is a billionaire or whatever. Which I gotta say, in terms of William Dafoe's performance as the Green Goblin, I've always enjoyed it. I still do. I even like the costume. Grant, people make fun of it. Oh, it looks like a Power Ranger villain. Whatever. I like it. I enjoy it. Grant, it's not as scary. It's not really scary as the original animatronic mask that they were going to use for the Goblin. I would have liked to have seen that. I mean, that thing had actual facial expression and emoting and actually moved. I think that would have been more creepy. Granted, they probably didn't want to make it as scary though, but come on. It's the freaking Green Goblin. He's called a goblin for a reason. Even in the animated series, he was way more scary. He's more scary in the animated series, the 90s series. It's a bit sad, even what happens to, I think, Harry in that series, more than these movies. I mean, I do like the friendship between Peter and Harry. I do like that. I like it. They start him off. He starts the movie off narrating, such as. It's funny because I always laugh at the part where he's like, if somebody told you that I'm a douchebag or something with an eye care in the world, and then he's like, somebody lied. I don't know, like the way Tobey Maguire narrates that opening scene, I thought was funny. Just like somebody lied. And then also the scene we get introduced to Peter as. We get introduced to Peter as he's hitting on the bus driving away, even though there has to be cameras on that bus, and that bus driver should be caught doing what he's doing, where he's literally driving, he's making this kid chase after the bus, even though he's supposed to let him on the bus. And then kids are like laughing about it, like, oh, I'm like, now, yeah, that's not cool. I never said anything about that when I was younger, but, like, now it's like, that bus driver's a douchebag for sure. Now, I will admit, I had to run at least once or twice after a school bus. After my school bus. I had to keep up with it for at least, like, two or three blocks, for sure. Early in the morning, and then you guys sprint just to catch the freaking bus when you don't have a car. When your parent doesn't have a car. Or they do, but they don't want to drive you to school. But yeah. Anyway, the movie. My thoughts on Willem Dafoe's character as the Green Goblin, as Norman Osborn. It occurred to me, I was wondering now, does he really, like, when he has his episodes, he's able to, like, just, does the Goblin, like, enter his mind, so then he's the Green Goblin, and then he goes crazy. But then, I would like to know what happens when he murders those board members at when they're doing a testing thing. Like, he flies in, they're doing a testing for their armored robot thing, pilot, whatever, and then he blows up with the glider. I want to know what happens after that. Where does he go? He must go back home, but does he snap out of the whole goblin thing, or does he know what he's done? I assume he doesn't, because then he talks to the helmet, because then he hears it talking to him. So, I mean, they do explain, like, the serum that he took, I think, causes, like, insanity or whatever, and aggression, I think. I can't remember. But, like, he goes on a rampage pretty much, because, like, I didn't understand what he was even testing exactly. And even that testing scene when he injects himself with that green smoke stuff. Oh my god. Like, that's scary right there, where he's all convulsing and seizuring, and then his eyes are, like, rolling in the back of his head, and then he kills his assistant, throws him in the computer or whatever. And then when he wakes up, and when Harry finds him and wakes him up, and then we get a quick jump. I always jumped I always either fast forward it real fast on VHS, because back in the day, I would either fast forward past that scene, not because it was scary, I mean, I guess a little bit, but because it would always just jolt, and then it shows that image of him convulsing his eyes in the back of his head, and like he was possessed or something. So we do get the sense that he doesn't remember what he does, because he does say, "I don't remember," because he gets flashes, but he doesn't remember exactly what he does. And then but then by the end, he tries to trick Peter into, like, it wasn't me, it was the goblin. I never wanted to hurt those people or whatever. And then but doing that, he ends up, like, pressing a button on his arm or whatever to activate the glider to try to penetrate Parker. But then he flips and then he kills himself. And he's like, "Don't tell Harry." And then just falls over dead. The Mary Jane storyline with Peter was interesting. Again, relatable. A pretty girl in high school who you like. You don't have the confidence really to go up and talk to her. Too shy, or, she'll never be interested in me, but she's interested in my rich friend, or just friend. And it never occurred to me that Peter and Harry lived together. I mean, not weird, but because they get out of high school, and then when he sees Mary Jane, she mentions that, "Aren't you and him living together? Didn't he tell you we were dating?" So then it never occurred to me, because I always wondered. I just thought Harry just happened to be at his apartment all the time, at Peter's apartment. But no, I guess they're roommates. The Uncle Ben thing is missing in these new Granted, we don't need to see it in every Spider-Man movie. They don't even mention his name in these Tom Holland movies. What is up with that? They don't mention anything about Uncle Ben. I don't understand. Like, I cared about this Uncle Ben in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man more than... Is there even an Uncle Ben in the Tom Holland movies? Like, maybe it's a different guy. Maybe that's what it is. Well, I don't know. But he has a hot aunt, and I'll give him that. But that's besides the point. But yeah, when he gets gunned down, it's sad. And then I'm going to defend the fact that the reason he's emotional and crying in this movie, anyway, because he lost his uncle. And, like, even, like, when his graduation, everybody has either their parents there or family members there, and that he has only his aunt and his best friend, and that's kind of it. And then when he goes home, like, he goes up to his room and sits on his bed, and then stares off and just cries. I'm like, I don't get why people are making fun of his whole crying thing in this movie or in the other movies. Maybe I'll have to watch the other movies to try to figure that one out. But here, I understood why he was crying, why he was emotional. He even said he misses them, which maybe people get over death of family members quicker than I do, or maybe they have different ways of grieving. I don't know, but I don't know. I didn't find it annoying, or, oh, he's a pansy for crying in every single scene, and he doesn't cry in every single freaking scene. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there, the whole, Tobey Maguire is a crybaby in these movies. I just don't get it. Lost his uncle. Graduation day, he only has his aunt, goes upstairs, and he's sad because even his aunt is, now she's lonely, because then as soon as he goes off to, he doesn't go to college, but as soon as he leaves the house, because he ends up leaving her alone, so he ends up moving out, she'll be all alone, come to think of that, with nobody now, because, So yeah, I don't get the critical whatever with that. I don't get the problem. I'm sorry, but and I also like the music video of this movie, the Hero. I forget I think it's Nickelback. I never listened to Nickelback. I like this song. This song is like the only song I associate this movie with, and that music video. Every time I hear that music, it takes me right to the movie. I even like that's, and I miss the days when music videos actually meant something to move, where they actually went with the movie. They actually told a story of that movie or along with the movie. Unlike today, you know, uh, Suicide Squad could have had a good soundtrack. Nope, we gotta put stupid Eminem and horrible artists that don't need to be on there. Kanye or I don't know if Kanye's on it, but Rihanna, whatever, and I just lost my train of thought. Okay. Also, the final fight with Green Goblin. I like it because I like how he has a trap where it's either Mary Jane or this. I don't even know what to call this thing where it's like this elevator thing, but I forget what they're called, but he has both of them and he decides to drop both of them, so then you choose which one. I like how it's stylized where you see in Spider-Man's eye things, you see the reflections of Mary Jane falling and then the bus of kids and people falling, and then he catches both of them. And I like how the New Yorkers end up trying to help him out as well. They throw stuff at the Goblin. You mess with one of us, you mess with all of us. And also, then we get a hand-to-hand combat between the two, which is interesting. And also, the whole Randy Savage thing. I'm not a fan of, old school wrestling. I like NWO, but, yeah, that's kind of it. But he let the robber go because the guy stiffed him. For one, I can sort of get behind that. The guy was a douche. He wouldn't give him what he was paid for, what was advertised. And then the guy gets mad. You let him take my money. Well, you stiffed me, so I'm doing what you did to me. Except worse. And then but then they retcon the whole death of Uncle Ben's death, where the way it was done is what I mean is, it wasn't actually that guy, it was Flint Marco, Sandman, aka. But I don't really have a problem with that either. But at the same time, I'll get to that when I get to that. But yeah, I liked the scene where he was stalking this robber guy in the building, or in this one area of the building, where he's hanging upside down in the shadows, and then silently he webs back up. I thought that was creepy and eerie. And then he's like, going vigilante a little bit. I would have liked to have seen a movie where Spider-Man goes vigilante. They did that a little bit in Amazing Spider-Man for a minute, but then of course, we can't have him doing all that. Can't have him, like Hawkeye and Endgame. We can't have him doing that. We can't have him as the Punisher or something. But whatever. And then, I like the scene where I think if I'm interpreting it my own way, I think he regrets. I'm trying to figure out because when he's confronting the robber guy, and he's like, "Did you give my uncle a chance? Did you?" And then he backs up and then flashbacks of, him stealing the money from that fight promoter guy, and then Uncle Ben's death. And I'm trying to figure out, maybe, so Was that him? Maybe that wasn't the guy that did it. Is that what they're implying? Maybe that wasn't the carjacker, but then the car looks like it's Uncle Ben's, but then he ends up twisting his hand, and then the guy falls out of the window, trips and falls out. I think what happens after that, he regrets the whole thing of, well, I didn't kill him, but at the same time, I don't know. Try not to make this video that long. But yeah, overall, I like the movie. The effects are up to par with most of Marvel's. Well, I'll just say, at least I like at least maybe a couple of scenes. Some scenes could have been cut out maybe, or fleshed out a bit, such as Mary Jane's whole family drama life thing where Dad, I guess he's supposed to be either alcoholic or just plain up a douchebag, abusive, because he screams at her and her mom and stuff like that. So that was kind of not interesting, but kind of whoa. So I like that Sam Raimi brought some realness well, not issues, but I don't know, relatability, I guess, to some of these characters. And then by the end, he's, I can't love you, I can't date you, because if my enemies find out who I'm with and all about you, then you're in danger. And so then he decides just to reject her and go as Spider-Man. And then the second one, he decides, you know what, screw it, I'm going to date you, oh well. And then she's like that, yeah. So, but yeah, I like the ending where he webs off, and, the memorable kiss upside down scene is iconic, as a lot of people associate it with this movie, and as a Spider-Man signature scene, or signature whatever. Yeah, I gotta say, yeah. Again, is it my favorite of the trilogy? That's a hard one, because I like elements of 2, and I also like parts of 3. I don't think 3 is horrible like people do, and I'll get to why when I get to it. But I don't know. I don't know where I would rank the Sam Raimi movies. There should have been a part 4. But, yeah. Overall, I like the film. If you want to request anything via PayPal or Patreon, request video reviews, video reactions, or commentaries, links are down below to request that. Yeah. Till next time, peace and love.